it's Asha. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am cleaning out these bad boys and we are doing an unhaul. So, hey, you may have not seen these before. This is at my stepdad's place. These are like my main bookshelves, but I usually film at my mom's because it's a little bit of a better setup. But these are where I keep the majority of my books. They're looking a little scraggly because I keep a lot of my books at my mom's now, but now that I'm moving, I am cleaning everything out. I am getting rid of books I don't want or need, and I am getting ready to move these bad boys into my apartment. So we're gonna clean these and then I'm gonna show you what I'm getting rid of. So let's go. By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I will put a timestamp down below if you're not interested in the whole kind of taking off process. I always find it fun to watch the time lapse, but if you're not and you just want to see the unhaul, it will be timestamped down below for you. Most of it. All right. We have cleaned out most of the actual books. I'm surprised it actually didn't take all that long. Packing them's probably gonna be a bitch, and then going through some of the books and getting rid of all my tabs and all of my annotations and underlines. That one's gonna be a bitch. I have an even bigger pile of books that I'm unhauling than I previously thought. But a lot of them are series, so we should be able to go through them fairly quickly, I'm hoping. First set of books I'm unhauling is the one I'm seeing in everyone's unhauls. It's the whole Divergent trilogy by Veronica Roth. Listen, it held a very special place in my teenage heart, but let's be honest, this series makes no fucking sense in terms of the world building. The ending was horrific, the middle book, no one remembers it. It's just time for it to go. This one I will be giving to my sisters. I have a 9 and a 7-year-old sister at the time that I'm filming, and so the 9-year-old's going to be old enough in just a few years to start reading young adult, so I'm going to keep most of the young adult here for her in case she wants it. And then everything else I will probably bring just to Valley Village. The next series I am unhauling is the entirety of the Mortal Instruments series. So we got the 6 books here. We also have A Clockwork Angel. I read this for my channel, did not particularly love it, and then I didn't start my channel by the time I read it, but anyways. Oh! No, no, bad, very bad. And then this was a gift from a friend that knew that I liked the Mortal Instruments, and at the time I did. I never got around to it, and now it's just too late. I hate unhauling books that I haven't actually read. It just drives me up the wall, because what if they're like a favorite? But realistically, do we really think this is gonna be a favorite? I don't even like Magnus that much. I know everyone does. He's not like a favorite character of mine, so. And then I also have, along with the Mortal Instruments, I have the first book in the Infernal Devices. As you can see by the fact that I used paper tabs, and you know that I color code my paper tabs if you've been on this channel. I did not really like this book. I found it really fucking annoying, actually. And I hated the audiobook, so this one is probably gonna go. I don't see any purpose in keeping it around. I'm not gonna continue with the series, most likely. So I'm just gonna get rid of this. It's funny because I considered keeping these because I find them really fun palette cleansers during the summer. It's a very soapy type of fantasy, like there's a lot of drama and it's kind of, you know, silly. And I also have that first edition of City of Heavenly Fire, and it has like some beautiful artwork on the jacket, but like realistically I don't even like the series that much. I love the Shadowhunters world. I do not care that much for the series. I have a feeling I'm not really going to be itching to go back into the world that soon, so I think I'm gonna just get rid of it. It's all falling. Okay, continuing on with the young adult series from my childhood, I have the entire Delirium trilogy, and I also have Lauren Oliver's Before I Fall. I'm gonna be real with y'all, I actually fucking loved this series back in the day. Delirium was like one of my all-time favorite series. I loved the concept of the world, and that was one of the first times my little teenage brain was exposed to things like gaslighting and just a really interesting twist on the whole dystopian genre, and it was well done because the writing wasn't that bad. But realistically, I picked up the first few chapters the other day and I was like, this is just kind of out of my age range at this point, so we'll also keep this for my sisters because they're all in like perfect condition. I've always kept my books in really good condition, so I'm gonna keep this for them, but it's got to go. Yet another favorite of mine growing up was the Across the Universe series by Beth Revis. This was like a sci-fi where this girl gets into this ship. She's cryogenically frozen, and then she's supposed to wake up when they get to this new planet, but someone tries to murder her by unplugging her before she's supposed to wake up, so there's no like scientists or doctors around to help her. She survives and she kind of starts discovering all these secrets on the spaceship. Listen, this was a good series. I loved it back in the day, especially the third book when they actually arrive on the planet. Oh my god, this was so fucking good. I just have a feeling that I'm not really gonna want to reread this. I don't want to ruin it in my memory of it being such like a good series, because to me this was like an all-time favorite. I read it over and over and over, but I don't want to kind of ruin those memories for me, you know? If it was a favorite from my childhood, let me just keep it as that in my memory, and hopefully my sisters like it too. If I ever desperately feel the need to reread it, I can borrow it from the library or dig it up from wherever we're gonna store all these, but I just have a feeling it's not gonna be worth keeping these around on my shelf for that long, you know? So the next two I kind of flip-flopped on. It's Incarceron and Safik by Catherine Fisher. So this was like a young adult fantasy, kind of steampunky, set in this prison that was kind of alive. It was a really cool concept. From what I remember, it was a really cool setting and it was executed well. I just don't remember shit about these. And I kind of wanted to read them for the channel to recommend some like lesser talked about young adult, because I never heard a lot of people talking about these. But then I realized that in general my channel is not for young adult viewers. It's more for people like me who read a little bit of everything. That's kind of the audience that I want to gather. So I don't know if making specific young adult recommendations is something that I want to do, if that makes sense. And obviously it's not me talking shit about young adult booktubers, young adult focused booktubers rather. It's just not the direction I want to take my channel when I really think about it. So I don't know if it's really worth me taking the time it's going to take to read two pretty dense books. I remember them being quite dense. I don't know if it's going to be worth it my time to go through these again and some other lesser known young adult titles if it's not even the direction I want to take with my channel. So these are going to go. I will obviously again save them for my sisters. It might interest them. Clearly I like fantasy and I hope they do too. Fantasy and sci-fi dystopian, so hopefully they enjoy that too, and I will save these for them. In the exact same vein as like unknown, underrated young adult fantasy, I have Perfect Ruin by Lauren DeStefano. This was a young adult fantasy set in this world that was kind of like floating above Earth, and the one rule was that you cannot want to go down to Earth, you cannot want to leave the kind of, I guess, cloud city they're floating on. And first of all, they changed the covers after I got this, so that fucking sucks. The new covers are actually quite nice, but like I never continued after the first one. I can't really tell you what happens except for the end. I just remember the end of this one. And quite frankly, I don't care to spend my time rereading this because I have a lot of other things I would just rather get to. So, one final young adult series, if I'm not mistaken, I have the Legend trilogy by Marie Lu, so Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. I've only read the first two. These are the only two I owned for a really long time. And so when I picked this one up in Value Village the other year, when was this? Like a couple of years ago? Before I got back into reading, I was like, oh, this series is incomplete. I found this one for like $4, let me buy it. Still never read it, even though I reread these two in 2019 because I wanted to read this. I realized that the way these two end is good enough for me and I don't need this. And then on top of that, I just, again, I'm kind of moving away from these kinds of books, and I'd rather them just go to either my sisters who are going to love them or bring them to Value Village so a young adult reader can actually experience these stories for themselves. This wasn't like a favorite of mine growing up either, so it's not like I have super fond memories attached to it, so I don't really care to get it off my shelves. Okay, I was cleaning out some lower shelves and I also found A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. This is also going. This was mediocre. It was supposed to follow like Shakespeare, Sherlock and Watson's descendants in like modern day New England. It was not good. It was extremely juvenile and just really not great. So this is going as well. Alright, next I have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is the first book in the Truly Devious like mystery series. Listen, this was just not good. I really thought I was gonna like it, which is why I bought it, but it just was not that good. And then I read the second book and I hated that one even more. I don't want anything to do with the series anymore. I will not even finish it. I don't care what happens in the mystery. It just is not good. So that one's going to my sisters too. Another start to a series that I will not be finishing is A Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rondell. This is a sci-fi retelling of Les Mis set in space. It was just mediocre. I do not remember anything about it. I do not care about the characters. The world isn't even that cool or unique. It just did not leave any kind of impression on me. This was on Book Outlet for really, really cheap back when I just got into BookTube, so I wasn't really being careful with my purchases. Now that I know my reading tastes a bit more, I would never buy something like this. I would just kind of read it from the library, so it's kind of a waste of shelf space to have it, so it's going. Ooh, next I have A Stranger in the House by Sherry Lapina. This was an adult thriller, and if you watched my thriller roundup, which I will link, I absolutely hated this book. It was not good. This book, I will say, helped me realize that there's no point to me in buying thrillers physically. Even though the only time I had bought thrillers was from Value Village when they were used and a lot cheaper, there's just no point to buying them for me because I will not ever reread them. That helped me save money, so I guess thank you for that. But you're trash and you're going back to Value Village where you came from. Next I have here 2 books in the Wool series. I think it's called the Silo trilogy by Hugh Howey. So we have Wool and Shift. I really did enjoy Wool back in the day. I did not enjoy Shift at all. I toyed with the idea of continuing it, but then as time went on, I just didn't really care about the series that much. It's very much a YA dystopian for adults, but it does still seem kind of young adult in the premise. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, there was nothing really that special about this, so I don't really care to keep it. Also, why the fuck are they different in the spines? That drives me up the wall. I hate it. Yeah, I don't think I want to finish the series. I don't even want to finish Shift. It was the most boring fucking book I've ever read. I DNF'd 50% of the way in. And I just want to make some room for some better books on my shelves. Next I have here Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is just going straight back to Value Village. I'm not even giving it to my sisters. This was just bad. Like, I didn't even like it the first time I read it as a teenager. And then I came across a thread on Twitter the other day, I think it was sometime last year anyways, about how just like racist this book was towards Asians. And Rainbow Rowell is not Asian herself, and it just came off as really, really fucking tone deaf. coupled with the fact that this book is just not good, it's like, it's going. Another book that was just not that good was The Outsider by Stephen King. I liked the first half of this. I did not like the last half of this. It just did not work for me at all, and I don't really want it on my shelves where it just makes me angry when I look at it because of how much I dislike the end. Stephen King is a good writer. The book was well written. It was just a really stupid fucking way to end the plot. I don't know why he did what he did in this book, so that one is gone. So I also have here A Clash of Kings by George R. R. Martin. This is the mass market paperback. I also have a Game of Thrones in this edition, so I will be getting rid of that one as well. That one's just at my mom's, I'm pretty sure. I do not need these. I ended up buying the whole series that's out currently in the regular paperback editions, so I really don't need these little mass market shitty little dinky boys. I have some random books here. I don't know where I got these. I think I ordered this from Scholastic back in the day. I have Chicken Soup for the Dog Lover's Soul. Don't need that. I have The Kite Runner. This has been sitting on my shelf for years. I never read it, and if I really wanted to, I can get it from the library. I don't know what this is. I don't need it. I also have this really gross edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. It's just flimsy. It's got this weird, soft hardcover. It's just gross. I don't want it. I know that's extremely vain, but like, ugh, I don't know why about that. Online it didn't look as bad, I promise. I also have some random Kathy Reichs book. Am I gonna read this? Absolutely fucking not. I'm not gonna read this. I don't know. I think it was free. I think that and Kite Runner were free from work. Someone brought like a box of books in. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe. Have I ever read Kathy Reichs in my life? Fuck, no. And I finally have this tie-in edition of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the movie tie-in by C.S. Lewis. I might eventually read the series. I don't know. I don't think it's worth keeping around it in case I do really want to read the series. And then again, library's there, library's free, and if it really becomes a favorite, there's much better editions than this. Y'all, that was it! That was a lot of books. I'm scared to see how long the footage is. Stay tuned, because once I move into my apartment on March 1st, I will be filming a full setup of my new shelves with all of my other books that I've acquired since, that are at my mom's, and other books that I will probably be acquiring throughout the month of February because I have no self-control. So keep your eye out for that. I hope you enjoyed this. My social media is linked down below as always. You guys can always come talk to me there, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!